Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the beginning of October of 2022, and as we get closer to Tales of the Jedi, a lot of Star Wars fans are also looking forward to other shows out there, like, of course, The Bad Batch 2, The Mandalorian Season 3, and let's not forget about the Ahsoka Tano TV show that is by far the most anticipated series for 2023. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new Star Wars universe that a lot of Star Wars fans have been very much invested in has a lot to do with what Favreau and Filoni are already pre-planning behind the scenes to really propel Star Wars in a brand new direction. Now, we already know that they are crafting a handful of retcons toward the sequel trilogy films, as well as really creating a lot of moments where Star Wars Legends is going to be revived and resurrected to actually become canon under Disney, essentially. So, when we look at everything related to that, there's a lot of things that are actually moving in motion right now between Favreau, Filoni, Lucas, Peyton Reed, and other creators coming on board to really handle Star Wars in all their might. Now, with that being said, there is a lot of development lately behind the scenes when it comes to what's been going on with the character of Rey, and we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. It's progressing at a faster rate as far as the changes that are being applied to Rey's bloodline and her backstory. And what Daisy Ridley recently had to say teases and, of course, has a lot to do with what is exactly happening with the character of Rey as well. Now, with that being said, with actress Daisy Ridley now in the talks with both Favreau and Filoni to return as a big cameo for one of the planned Star Wars TV shows, when she recently engaged in an interview about her past involvement with the sequel trilogy, she was eventually questioned about her involvement in future projects. Daisy Ridley went on to state the following to the fans and teased Rey's new bloodline. Well, she goes on to say, "What I can tell you is never say never. I think that fans are going to be very happy in a short number of years. I guess you could say there have been interesting conversations of what's going to happen with my character in the new stories that they are spending so much time on right now. I have been talking with John and Dave, who, by the way, are incredible people and so down to earth. They are sweethearts. We have been going over however we can actually make Rey's backstory and connections more grounded. I always knew that JJ wanted to do greater things that he never got to explore, and many of JJ's ideas are now being picked up by both John and Dave, which I think is amazing." Now, I want to stop here quickly for a second before I get to the next thing that's very involved. Now, the thing about John and Dave picking up a lot of ideas that Abrams also had in mind is, I think, is honestly a good thing, because let's face it, as much as I do criticize J.J. Abrams for The Force Awakens in Episode 9, a lot of it had to do with Kathleen Kennedy forcing him to do things that certain way as well. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly how much was really J.J. and how much was really Kathleen, right? Now, the thing about this is that originally, JJ wanted to make Rey a Kenobi. He wanted that. That was his real game plan. He even actually laid it out there in The Force Awakens, where, you got to see her power using the Jedi mind trick. He himself even said that that was a little breadcrumb of the possibility of making her connected to the Kenobi bloodline. And that's something that, by the way, John and Dave are right now working on as we speak. Daisy Ridley is teasing this big time about what's going on behind the scenes of what we have been talking about between Favreau and Filoni and Lucas working on all these different retcons that are going to make Rey a granddaughter of Kenobi's brother, which, by the way, is going to be named Waylon Kenobi. So Waylon Kenobi is going to be the grandfather of Rey, essentially, and Palpatine will be also the other grandfather. So you're going to have this Palpatine and Kenobi bloodline combined for the character of Rey. Now, moving on to the next thing, this is where things get even all the more involved when it comes to Rey and how her bloodline is going to be expanded. All right. So Daisy Ridley goes on to actually tease the following to the fans. They are, of course, also taking some of the leftover pieces of Rey's story from Colin Trevorrow, who was creating Duel of the Fates at one time. I can't go into details about this all, but things are happening and things are changing with my character. I think fans are going to be thrilled to see where this character goes. Separate from what Ridley stated here, of course, and what Kathleen Kennedy had initially planned. This all alludes to her character getting renamed as Rey Solana Kenobi, and also holding the Palpatine bloodline as well to justify why she was so powerful in the Star Wars franchise. This is all being changed, all thanks to Favreau and Filoni as we speak. Now, here's the deal about this, and here's the big thing, is that Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas are making sure that this is going to be done in a very authentic way. It's not going to feel pushed or forced or just very odd or fanficky. They want to make sure that this is going to be very grounded, that it's going to have a lot of callbacks, but also a lot of roots to history, dating back to the prequels, dating back to the pre-prequel trilogy, and there's going to be a lot of things happening there. In fact, we talked about this numerous times. Favreau's only involvement in the Kenobi series was telling Deborah Chow, have Ewan McGregor say a line that he believes that he had a brother, that he remembers a hand, a baby's hand. That's what he wants to do. And that's why he instructed Deborah Chow to actually insert that line of dialogue. It's all being rooted to Rey's identity getting changed. So, Daisy Ridley really coming forward and teasing a lot of what's happening between herself, Favreau, Filoni, the salvaging of J.J. Abrams and Colin Trevorrow's ideas. There's a lot of things happening right now. So there is a post-episode 9 series in the works. We talked about this already, and it's going to include a major cameo by Daisy Ridley as Rey Solana Kenobi. In case you guys did not know, the Solana surname actually was an original idea by Colin Trevorrow. Kenobi was actually an original idea by J.J. Abrams. So you can see how John and Dave are combining both Trevorrow's and Abrams' vision of Rey's backstory and true identity. I kind of like that, I will be honest. I think it's a very unique thing to approach. Now, obviously some fans are not going to like this, and I understand that. The whole bloodline thing may sound boring to some people. However, to me, Star Wars, a lot of it has to do with bloodlines, and there's something about the bloodlines that makes Star Wars so very special because it is a soap opera in space. As Lucas pointed out, it's a space opera. And a lot of operas have a lot to do with family problems, and that's exactly why it's oriented around the Skywalkers. That's why it's a space opera. So, I think that when you look at the character of Rey now, there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of different ways that fans are going to perceive her. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.